Hi guys. A way to make a first impression. If you're new here, hi, how are you? My name is Anna. And if you're not new here, then let's just spend some time together. Okay, so here's what we got today. We've got a reintroduction to myself, the channel, what I do. Sometimes people are a little concerned and surprised because I jump from one thing to another, but we'll get to that. There are 4 sections. The first one is basics. Where am I from? I was born in Stamford, Connecticut. I was made in Colombia, South America. And that's where my family is from. It's where my parents are from. And it's where I spent ages 10 through 14. So cheers to being bilingual. I'm completely traumatized. Cheers to PTSD. I grew up in Westchester, New York. So yeah, and that's where I have lived my adult life up until 8 years, where we moved 1 county north and now reside in a really cute little lake town, which we've become accustomed to. You know, I'm a mom of 2 middle school age kids. My oldest will be going into high school, and to move her out of district at this point is just sad. And it's also a little bit of healing for myself, my inner child, because you know, I get to give my children that stability of living in the same place their whole childhood, as opposed to the uncertainty that I grew up with. So we got deep, but that's what we're here for, because I've done introductions before. I've talked to you before. You know, I'm chatty, so there's a lot of get to know you. So I'm gonna really tell you the tea, okay? Okay, so that's where I'm from. That's where I'm from. That's where I'm at. I'm in New York, about an hour from the city, depending on how fast you drive, or if you enjoy the train ride, which it's pretty beautiful. Either line you take, I have access to 2 lines, train lines, I mean, going into the city, so both beautiful, in their own way. How did I come up with my YouTube name? Well, my YouTube name is FromAna, same as my Instagram. And Instagram came first to share my bullet journal and the doodles that came from that. And so once I had established my Instagram, I decided to turn to YouTube, and FromAna is just this way that I have to umbrella the fact that I am not going to just show you one thing or another, that I am multi-passionate, I am extremely creative, and I am a Gemini. So I love to start a new project. I love to think up new ideas. I love to feel the passion and the spark of that initial whatever. And then undiagnosed ADHD symptoms, such as I feel like the creative birth of the idea is enough to let the idea kind of just sit. without being actually manifested into reality, without being created. So I've talked a lot about the fact that by the time I sit down to draw or to paint something, pen in hand, hand to paper, I've already drawn it mentally in my head, in my creative loop, in my rehearsal loop, which is a real thing, it's a real term. In my rehearsal loop, I've painted it over and over and over again, you know, for an extended period of time. So there's that. So from Ana, the umbrella is that I'm going to share with you everything I do, from planning to doodling to omni journaling to mixed media to my obsession with watercolor, stickers. I make art and then I have them made into stickers so that I can share them with, you know, the audience in my shop. This is a self-sponsored video. Just want to add that in there. This is self-sponsored by my shop, FromAna, FromAna.com. You can find all my vinyl stickers based on, you know, pages in my journals. I also have some digital stuff, prints, pins, charms, keychains, and there's also links to my Patreon and other stuff, my journals, my book. So all of that is from Ana. My interests from Ana. It's from Ana. It's from Ana. You know, it's what I do. It's from my hands. I have this cool wooden, like hands sculpture thing, and I love that. And that was the inspiration for the name, From Ana. Mudras are important to me, you know, hand gestures, how you receive, how you send off. I also practice Reiki, so how you receive, how you very careful with hand gestures, and that's where that from. I don't know, but that was the inspiration. You asked me the question, here you are. Long answer for it. How long have you been reading tarot? Okay, so I went back to check my Amazon, and it says that I ordered my very first Amazon deck March 6th of 2022, and that would be the Good Tarot. I recently modified it because I've had it for 3 years and I have barely touched it. At the very beginning, I would do, I was very excited, so I would do like a daily card pull, and I have those very small depictions right here in my A6 journal from my A6 planner from that day. And I also have I full blown just wrote tarot. I got super excited, like I discovered sliced bread. So yeah, I started looking at it, I guess online on YouTube or whatever, on it says the 4th, the 5th, and then by the 6th I had already ordered it on Amazon. So it took me a few days to decide which deck I wanted, and I solely based that on, well, we'll get to that. So I've been reading tarot since 2022. However, I really took my first deep dive, I want to say, with Tome 78, and that was in 2023. That was October of 2023. And so I took a deep dive using the guided tarot through Tome 78, and that's when I really was like, oh wow, how did I get into reading tarot and oracle? So that answers tarot. Oracle came before. Oracle came in, I want to say 2005. I was going through a rough patch in my relationship. I had two tiny little babies who were kind of looking at me like, oh my God, what's going on? And then I was reaching for spirituality. And I'm not one to follow a religion specifically, although I was born, baptized, and did my first communion as a Catholic. So when I was looking for that support, that guidance, that other bigger message, I reached out to what I knew, what I grew up with. And so I picked up this daily guidance from your angels, from Doreen Virtue. Doreen Virtue is, I mean, she's kind of like the grandmother of like metaphysics, right? So she had been around. I had read some of her other like angel books. You know, they had circled through my family. And then while I was in high school, so when I was going through this really big adult moment, that's what I found to be grounding. And yeah, so for a lot of reasons, that first Oracle deck has always been like my go-to. Like no matter what, she's always in the forefront of how I keep them arranged. She's always like, yeah, the first. She's got a priority. So yeah, so 2005 for Oracle. I did not accumulate a lot. After I bought this one, I was gifted Earth Magic. Then I bought another one. Hold on, I can tell you which one. In my tarot tome, I designed this journal. Again, this this video is so self-promoted. Wisdom of the Oracle. And then, and the Ascended Masters. So I bought myself 3 oracles, was gifted 1. So I had a total of 4 oracles from 2005 until 2022. So it was quite a while, you know. Things were looking good. Things were working out. Where everything was okay. And funny enough, when I felt the calling to get the good tarot, things were okay. Things were good. Emotionally, like just everything was okay. We had survived COVID. We had survived a lot of things, relationship wise also. But funny enough, I ordered the deck, and then it takes a year of me getting to know it and falling in love with it before I actually need it, you know, until life shook me up and was just like, oh, by the way, this is why you have this skill now. This is why you have this tool. This is how you're going to get through this season of your life. Okay, so do I read for others? I did not set out to read for others. I am shy. It's not that I'm closeted. It's just that I had not embraced or embodied this title of witch. I was practicing magic here and there in my own way. I like to live in a whimsical I'm an artist, so I live in a fantasy, illustrative, you know, colorful life, you know, in my head. So, yeah, it had not occurred to me. However, I have these friends who honor me with the trust that they put into what I do. And so once I started talking about, you know, these skills, all of this knowledge, a couple of friends said, hey, can you do a reading for me? Can you do a reading for me? And I was just like, I can. So I picked up this sketchbook with a different purpose, but now it serves the purpose of keeping my client keepsake. So after I do a reading, I'll do art based on that reading with the symbology from the cards, symbology from my own knowledge. And then if I know you personally, then it's a lot easier to connect with things that, you know, I know about you. If you'd consider doing a reading with a keepsake, you can find that linked in my website. And then I send you a postcard. And so the originals live in the sketchbook. And that's some real art magic practice right there, where I love the combination of serving my community and then being the authentic artist that I am and bringing my composition, my collage onto the page and have that be something that you can look back on. It's just a really cool practice. Decks is the next category. Okay, so do I use Oracle with tarot? Yes, I do. I don't use it as often as you think. My go-to pairing for readings, actually we'll talk about that in a later question, but I have a different preferred pairing. But usually if I pull a card and either drawing something that's based on that, or I during the changes in seasons, I go to a particular oracle. I go to Earth Magic. I'll go to Ascending Masters if I feel like there's a change in the wind, you know, in the change of where my guidance is coming from. Yeah. My practice with Oracle is much more vibey, you know, whenever the feelings call, not so much a daily practice. My tarot practice is much more consistent. Okay, so how many decks do I have? I have, I believe, 20. Wait, hold on. So how are we counting this? Okay, so Oracle, we've got Daily Guidance from Angels, Ascended Masters Oracle, Earth Magic, Wisdom of the Oracle, Good Tarot. Oh no, shoot, sorry. Enchanted Map Oracle, so that's 5 so far. Roots and Wings, Santa Muerte Oracle, Angels and Ancestors Oracle, the Divine Feminine, Witching Hour Oracle, that's 10. Then we've got the Urban Crow Oracle. So that is 11 Oracle decks. Plenty more on my wish list, which I will include in the description, just in, you know, in case you're like, you know, curious. And then how many tarot decks do I have? I have the Good Tarot. I have the Good Tarot. I have, excuse me, the White Newman Sacred Animal Tarot. I have Santa Muerte. I have the Nicoletta Chicotle Tarot. I have the Light Seers. I have the Centennial deck. I have the Tarot of the Haunted House, Curious Creatures, and I don't have the deck, but I have the big book for the Spirit of the Herbs, so I count that as a deck. So that is a total of 9 decks, and one extra one that I have is the Pixies Astounding Lenormand. So I have one Lenormand deck, which is a different system, just in case you were wondering. And I also have a Loteria deck, and I have a DIY deck that I've been working on. I'll leave the link for that project down below, in case you're wondering what that video is all about. So yeah, so 9 and 11 brings us to 20. That's a cute number. Like I said, though, I have plenty of wants. It's not for a lack of wanting. It's a lack of, it's not a lack. It's, I want to spend an entire season getting to know my decks, getting personal with them. I am very picky. We'll get to that. Okay. Where do you store your decks? Right here on the altar, which is my desk. I do everything here. I plan here, I craft here, I junk journal here, I paint here, I eat here, I smoke here, I cry here. I have amazing ideas at 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning here. I do my tarot practice here. I have some crystals of like the season, whatever the vibe is, that they're hanging out with me. I have my charms. I have my chakra doll. What else can a girl want? You know, and then I have my rainbow markers where, you know, sometimes I feel judged by them. They're like, why do you have us? You don't even touch us. But there they are, my pride and joy. So it's a very happy place where I store my decks. Because I am one of those like need to have it full access or else I won't touch it. I decided to start getting rid of the boxes early on for space sake, and also because it just satisfied me so much more to have a stack of the little books, or to have like the decks hanging out with each other in a box. And then as my council grew, so did the container they were stored in. And finally I found this one at the Dollar Tree, which is not only great price, but it's also clear. And I love that. And you know, I can still stick my fingers in there when I need to like push it around and stuff. So I enjoy it like that. I don't know anybody who stores their decks out in the open like I do, to be honest. I know people will pull cards and pull decks and put them on their altars, but I don't know anybody who literally gets rid of all of their boxes and just keeps them out like that. There's an energetic flow that people are uncomfortable with. However, as a vibrational crystal healer, I've had tons of crystals who are out in the open. They are magical tools, and I just don't believe in hiding it, you know. I need them. I don't know, maybe it's my tactile thing, maybe it's like, you know, visual person, whatever the reason is. Mine are out. What do I look for in a deck? I look for the art, the vibe, the message. My default is the original Rider-Waite-Smith. Pamela's art is so full of symbolism, and you just want, I personally am one of those people who likes to start at the beginning of things. I like to be very thorough, and it just makes sense for me to start with her artwork, with her message. And then from there, now that I have a solid grasp on tarot, then I can look at other tarots, the other decks that are more story based, like the Haunted House Tarot, which was a great fun. The current, like right now, I'm finishing up 78 Deep with the Curious Creature deck, and that is so whimsical, so out of control with the colors, that I'm having a great time, you know, following that story. So, what do I look for in a deck? I don't know. They have just kind of come to me. Santa Muerte came to me at a time where it was, Death card was the card of the year for me. I was going through the liminal space of what I knew was a separation from this new life to, you know, what eventually would lead to divorce. So it was very much like that death, that shedding of all the things. Let me just tell you, all the things. Okay, so yeah, it's very vibe based at this point. How would you describe my deck council? My deck council is, they are different. They are representative of different parts of my personality, of different parts of my interests, of yeah, that's what it is. They represent my interests, and my interests are always changing, always fluctuating. Did I mention I'm a Gemini? Yeah, wherever my interest goes, I'm sure to follow, because I'm done fighting or, you know, having friction with my creativity. Like, wherever it wants to flow, that's where I'll follow you. And it took me a long time, but, you know, with age comes wisdom, and with practice also comes understanding. My creativity ebbs and flows, and sometimes I have this outpour, and then I need time to rest, relax. But in my own personal view, that part is like I am drowning, and I'm just like, I am so worthless and unproductive, and, you know, like, not creative. And then I come right back up and I make a whole bunch of stuff, and then I'm just like, oh, I'm so proud of me. And then it happens all over again. And I used to not expect the ebb and flow. I just wanted to live on that high of that, you know, production. And now I'm all just like, oh, you know, we rest when we rest, and then we produce when we're, you know, when we're ready. Okay, so do I have a go-to tarot and oracle deck? Yes, and I've already, like, I just answered this, but I'll answer it again. Go-to oracle deck. She's just sweet and nice, and just a warm, comforting hug. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes she has this detoxification card that's just, you know what I mean? But then, you know, she comes right back with the gentle messages, and we've been together for so long that just a special place in my heart for her. And next, tarot deck, the Centennial, of course. The deck, yes, of course, but the guided tarot book, like on a daily, like reference everything I need to reference really is that book. Okay, so have I rehomed decks? If so, what determines if it leaves your collection? I have rehomed 2 decks. Both of them were gifted to me. So they came with very special, loving energy. And I did not want to be an ass. And so the first deck was a collage deck. And I didn't rehome it because it lives in my home. It just doesn't live in my council. One of my daughters took it. Actually, she really enjoys the art, the collage, and the colors and everything like that. So I was just like, good for you. It's a very popular deck. But I didn't vibe with it. I found it overwhelming, overstimulating. And so, and perhaps I was still new to tarot, so I wasn't ready for it, but I've seen flips of it again, you know, and I'm still like, no, I'm okay with my decision. So that one. And then the other one was gifted to me as part of an experience that I participated, a tarot experience that magic art tarot experience that I participated in. And I was gifted this oracle deck, and this oracle deck came to me, and she needed to teach me a message. And so I stuck it through. It was a very personal friction. And so, did I mention it was like, it was that death here. And so I had some stuff to work through. And as soon as the experience was over, I packed it up and I rehomed it. And then with the money, I was able to get myself an oracle deck that I very much wanted as a part of that feminine, the divine feminine message that I had now learned to claim for myself through the experience. So that was a lovely kind of full circle moment. And because I have the kind of relationship that I have with the person who gifted it to me, I was able to keep them in the loop, and so they understood, like, yeah, that needs to happen. And then they celebrated with me the fact that, you know, it had happened so seamlessly. So I have a great deck, and I had that experience. And so for those reasons, I would rehome a deck. I have purchased an oracle deck and then sent it right back through Amazon, because when I received the box, it didn't feel right. And I had already decided that I really needed the Santa Muerte Tarot. And so I'm frugal, and I was just like, well, no. So I did the exchange, sent it back, and then ordered the Santa Muerte. And so technically that's a rehome, although I never opened the box. But I'm okay with that. And again, the why is vibes, you know. Next category, my practice. What does my tarot practice look like? So my tarot practice right now, and it changes seasonally, it changes depending on the experience that I'm doing, and then during the time off from experiences, which tend to fall seasonally. But there is this month or so sometimes that we go through, or 2 months that there is no experience. So so the practice right now, as a 78 deep, the practice is to I get up, I roll out of bed, come over to the desk, and I change my card of the day for the deck that I'm working with. And then I share the image both on Patreon as a daily free check-in, option. So even if you can't support, you know, the Patreon, you can still join in for free content. And so I do the image of the day there, and then I go over to the chat with the ladies of 78 Deep, the live experience, and I check in with them and I show them my card of the day, because that's just become routine. And so I do that, and then on Sundays I sit down with my planner, with my Book of Shadows, with my guided tarot, and with the book from the Curious Creatures, and with all of the cards from the week. And what I do is then I go through and I answer the 3 questions from the experience for all. So it's really nice little like hindsight of like how the week went, and you know, how the tarot card, you know, talks through daily life. And that part always just blows my mind. And then, so that's, yeah, so that happens weekly. Daily, change the card, read the message for the day in the book, walk away, and just let it, you know, be a part of me. That is my daily practice. I also check in with my planner as a daily practice. Check in with my plans of the day, future plans, you know, plans of the past, if I have to edit anything or, you know, whatever. Then there is the check-in with the Book of Shadows. Is it a special day that I want to, you know, commemorate and do some art over? Am I learning something that needs to go in there? That's all my daily practice. That all goes together. That's kind of like the little ecosystem of how we keep Ana grounded and functioning. And so, yeah. Tools that I use. I mean, like I said, I have the decks. I have my Book of Shadows, which is my current like obsession. Like that's where I work everything out. That's why I've named it my Book of Shadows, because I'm working through my shadow self and this season of the deep decline. I don't know what to call it. Anyways, so yeah, so that's where I keep all of my magic, you know, magical notes to self and all that stuff. Also, I see my art practice as my daily practice, you know what I mean? And it all has to do with each other. It's so much inspiration comes from the tarot pulls, or symbolism from tarot, or a magical background idea. So tools, and when do you turn to the cards for answers? So during the times that I'm not doing an experience, I will try to maintain a daily pull, just to keep myself immersed in the practice. I'm not always great at it, but yeah, we'll see. I turn to the cards for guidance, I want to say, you know, every day, weekly, definitely having them out and like looking at them. And you know, the ladies I'm working with currently, deities and goddesses, yeah, it's all part of the practice. Okay, what does a typical tarot reading look like for you? So, I came up with this step by step, you know what I mean? And I'm not the first and I'm not the last and I'm not creating the wheel, but this is just like when I did a step by step with watercolor first comes the rainbow pencil, and then comes the ink, and then we do the watercolor, and then we do the splatter. You know what I mean? Like, that was my go-to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It makes it so much easier if you just keep repeating that kind of step by step, right? So when my friends asked me, or even for myself, what led me to this, acquiring the Lenormand, Pixie's Lenormand. I got curious about Lenormand as a system, and then when I found out that there was that this deck existed, not just as a mini, but also as a you know, they took art, symbolic art out of her artwork, her existing artwork, to create, you know, to go along with it. And so the vibe matches, the art style matches, and then the explanations come right from tarot. So it just makes perfect sense. So what I do is I'll pull typically 3 Lenormand cards, and then I will pull the tarot cards that I feel the art is based from, or the message is based from, and then I'll sink my teeth into like the message of the Lenormand card book, whatever, and then try to mind map like the whole situation based on the tarot cards now pulled for the explanation of the Lenormand. I know that sounds really convoluted, but I do a better visual explanation of it during my mind mapping video, so I'll link that below as well. So it also serves to show you how my brain works when I'm doing a reading for somebody else, because it works the exact same way. As the person asks the questions, I pull the cards with the intention of answering said question, and then I work the tarot cards that go with that. Again, watch the other video if you're interested, if it tickles your brain. Next category, last category, YouTube, TarotTube. Such is life. What kind of content is your favorite to post and watch? Okay. To post, I enjoy posting content that gets watched and interacted with. I enjoy posting videos that just are easy to film. I don't work with a lot of technology. I film from an iPhone. I then edit on iMovie on said iPhone, and then I post. I don't even have a laptop, and I don't feel like transferring video over to my iPad, so we just keep it all on that one device. So there's a real rawness about my videos that kind of took place like 3 years ago when the laptop was lost. She turned vintage on me and was no longer fixable. So she was well loved. So here we are, very authentic, very raw, very real, very this is how we do it. So if it's easy enough to point and shoot, I also like to edit in a very particular way. So I record in chapters in that way to make editing even, because editing is not my favorite to do. And I have go-tos, like if I need a moment of silence, I use the same song pretty much. And over the years, people have expressed that seeing my face, listening to my voice, watching me do planning or artwork in real time versus speeding it up too much. So little tips and tricks about what I post and what is in the back of my head when I'm deciding on a video. But ultimately my content ideas come from what I'm watching. And right now TarotTube has so many VRs that it's, you know, it's a no-brainer to like participate and get that audience feedback and find people that are like-minded. I have shared planning and journaling and watercolor and bits and pieces with vlogging. So the algorithm sometimes has no idea what to do with me, and I totally get that. I've been here a long time, been here doing a lot. Like I have over 400 videos. The algorithm still hasn't helped me grow. So tell a friend. Again, I'm self-sponsored, so FromAna.com. Okay. So what kind do I like to watch? I like to watch, sometimes it's planner content, sometimes it's art content, sometimes it's doodling, sometimes it's looking at stuff that I don't do, so I want to get a better idea for it. I look at shops that are starting out, and you know, they just look so excited to start out. And then I look for witchy magic, art journal content. I love when people put art and magic, tarot, divination of all sorts, and then make up these like amazing grimoires. They make up these great journals, and so I spend a lot of time looking at that. It's inspiring, it's colorful, it's not my style, but it's just fun to look and watch. I will very much watch flip throughs, like deck hauls, so that I can see the flip throughs. Silent flip throughs are my favorite, which is why I make them when I have new decks. Just to help with the shopping experience. It's easy to just go on Amazon and buy a deck, but in order to see every card, to see if I'm going to enjoy it, like it's a, you know, this breaks that wall and gives it a look. So that's great. And that's the kind of stuff that I watch. And then of course my friends, my creative, you know, friends from all over, you know, doing all kinds of stuff, painting, drawing, planning, junk journaling. Yeah, one of the OGs, James Luke Burke, obsessed with him. Okay, what else? Where was I? How did I get into creating a YouTube channel? My YouTube channel came from, well, when I started Instagram for my bullet journal, there were videos. You could post a video, but there was no reels. So I would hyper speed my flip throughs and post them. And so then I discovered the power of YouTube and people flipping their journals and other people interested in people flipping their journals. And I was just like, I want people to like swoon over mine. So that's where my YouTube journal, you know, my YouTube started, was holding up my selfie stick against the desk in order to prop up the phone in order to flip, and trying not to breathe too much so I wouldn't shake the selfie stick, while at the same time speaking coherently through it, because I didn't know what a voiceover was just yet. So it was hectic at the beginning, but it was wonderful. I still have those first videos, those first flip throughs. Watch them often for inspiration, you know, and to remind myself why I'm here. It was never about, you know, creatives and sponsorships and all that stuff, although it'd be nice, but also just the joy of community, of sharing, of I've also legacy, you know, of having a space to look back on all that I've done. I always say, like, that's the backup file. If something were to ever happen to my physical journals, I love that I would be able to still have the videos. And if something were to ever happen to me, I love that my children, my grandchildren, and future generations, as long as YouTube is up, can hear my voice, see my face. That's kind of powerful and exciting. So that's a tiny little piece of like this, you know, that just that subscribe button, that's mine. That's all I'm worth right now. Knowing what you know, knowing what I know now about YouTube, TarotTube. TarotTube is still, you know, I don't consider myself part of TarotTube. I feel like I'm trying to break into TarotTube. I feel like I've created some tarot content, but I'm still probably in the minds of a lot of my subscribers. I'm still very much a planner, or at the very least, some kind of journaler, somebody with a vast collection of journals, but I don't want to fall into either category. Like, I don't need to be in a box, one or the other. I don't even think, do the planners have a tube? Planner tube, is that a thing? Yeah, I create my content, if I have to use that word, is me, is all the things that I do. And like I said, I'm following a flow, you know, and I'm not going to tell it, no, I'm not going to rein it in for viewership or anything like that. So what I share is what's happening. And if I'm not sharing, it's because nothing's happening. True story. And I have over 400 videos because I like to share, you know, and sometimes I overshare, so the algorithm doesn't like that either. So for whatever it's worth, if you're new to my channel and if you've lasted this long, then number one, we are now officially friends because you know things now about me. And number two, you know, like I said, subscribe, check out my website, check me out on Instagram, try Patreon, you know, chat with me. I love a comment down below. I love a slip into my DMs. Did you know all of this about me already? Or is this all new? All right, guys, we are about to have spent an entire hour with each other, and I wholeheartedly appreciate you spending the most precious thing you have, which is your time with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much to Coyote Tarot for compiling this list of questions, and you know, for getting all of those curious minds satiated and satisfied. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ta-ta for now. Bye, guys.